Hi everyone, welcome to this Python programming course for beginners, designed especially for students and those starting their coding journey. This course is divided into four simple and powerful parts. Part 1, Python basics. Part 2, build your first project. We'll create a personal expense tracker using everything you learned in part 1. You'll get hands-on with real coding. Part 3, add GUI. We will build an user interface for this expense tracker. Part 4, enhance it with AI. Yes, you'll give your project a smart touch by adding AI features like automatic expense category prediction using simple ML techniques. First, get comfortable with some fundamental concepts that are data types, conditional statements, loops, and file handling. Data types, what are they? Think of a notebook. If you're writing a shopping list, you write like milk, eggs, toothpaste. So those are text. That is string. If you're writing a budget list, you will write numbers like 500, 1000. That's numeric data, like integers or floats. Here is the different data types we have in Python and also the details of what holds which type of data. Like we use dictionary when we want to store key value pairs. Also, we need to understand the difference between a set and list. In Python, sets and lists are both used to store collection of items, but they have distinct characteristics and use cases. List is ordered and allows duplicate items. It is ordered, so it is allowing indexing. Searching is slower when compared to set. So when we can use this list, so if you need to have order in your data, or if you want to allow duplicates in your data, go for list. Example, storing a sequence of tasks or sequence of items. Set is unordered and do not allow duplicates. Use when you need uniqueness or perform some operations like union, intersection, and differences. Also, if you want to remove duplicates in your collection, of course, you can use set. Here comes tuple. Tuple are also ordered collection of elements. Unlike lists, tuples cannot be modified after they are created. So Python is very smart in handling different types of data, but you need to know which type to use in what scenario. Here is how you write those data types programmatically. When you mention a string, you always give the value between double quotes or single quotes in some cases. And here is an integer and here is a float. And for Boolean, you give it as true or false with the first letter as capital. Here is a sample list. So no need to mention the number of elements you want here. Of course, you can directly give the data. That is also accepted. And also you see this list is accepting any type of data, that is the string and also integer. So that means every element in a list is not necessarily be a same data type. It could be a different data types. That is also allowed here in the Python. And here is a dictionary. That's we said it is a key value pair. I'm running this data and I'm printing everything here. Yes, I'm able to print. And you see a beautiful thing, that is, I have a variable, but I don't know what type it is. Of course, Python helps us with finding what type of variable it is. See here, it gives you that it is a type float. Here is conditional statements, that is if else statements. Now imagine this. If my expense is more than 500, alert me. That's exactly how Python makes decisions too. Using if else, we can make the program smart. We give it a condition and tell it what to do if that condition is true and what to do if that is false. Also remember, Python uses indentation to mark blocks of code, not specifically for this conditional statement. On a whole, indentation is something we need to be very careful when we are writing code in Python. Use comparison operators Like mentioned here, if you want to arrive with some conditions, basically the output has to be true or false. The else block helps us cover all the other possibilities. That is, if the condition is false, so what we have to do, we give those section in the else block. Here is the coding example of if-else statements. I have given the expense. Based on the expense value, I am asking it to print different things. If my expense is greater than 1000, I'm asking it to print high spending. If it is greater than 500, moderate spending. Otherwise, spending under control. Now let's run with 300. It says spending under control. Okay, I make it 1300. It is a high spending. So whenever the condition is true, it goes inside it and skips the other parts. Let's talk about loops. One of the most useful things in programming. There are three different loops: for loop, while loop, and nested loop. For loop, counting steps. That's an example. Think of climbing a staircase. You know there are exactly 10 steps. So you take one step at a time until you reach the top. That is a perfect example for a loop where you know how many times something need to be repeated. While loop. Real time example is charging your phone. Now think about plugging in your phone. You don't know how long it takes to reach 100%, but you keep charging it while the battery is below 100. So that is a while loop where the repetition depends on the condition being true. So the loop keeps getting executed till the condition in your while becomes true. Nested loop. Real-time example, serving food in classrooms. Let's say there are three classrooms, each has 5 students. You go to each classroom and serve food to each student. So that is a loop inside loop. It is also called a nested loop. Here is the coding example of loops. For loop. Here I want to print from 1 to 5. That is, I know how many times it has to repeat. Then I go for a for loop, run it. Yes, I'm printing from 1 to 5. Next comes the while loop. So I want to charge my phone while the battery is less than 100. Here my condition is while the battery is less than 100, print it. And then I'm adding up the battery to 30, number to 30. So this is some real-time value we just have to add up for the explaining the logic. So what we understand here is till the battery crosses 100, this will be executed. We don't know how many times, but we just know that battery value has to be less than 100. So the loops get executed till this condition becomes true. Next is the nested loop. So as we said, we want to serve food for 3 classrooms and each classroom has 3 students here. So for loop inside a for loop. So that is what it means. The loop inside a loop is called a nested loop. File handling. Save and use your data. Just like a cashier records bill in a register, we can store data in a file using Python. With Python, you can create a file, open it, read from it, write into it, and finally close it. There are different file modes. Read, W is for write, A is for append, RBWB for reading or writing in a binary mode. It's simple, but super useful in real life projects. Let's see coding example for file handling. So in this piece of code, we are opening a file expenses.txt in a write mode. And in that file, I'm placing these 2 entries. Let's run it. So when you see, once you run this code, your file got created. If it exists, yes, it writes into the file. But if it does not exist, it goes ahead and create the one. I'm opening it. So you see the data is injected into the file. So now here I'm trying to read the file. Again, at the same code, like I'm opening it in the read mode. So, and for each line, I'm reading line by line and printing it line by line, right? So I'm running this. So these two are printed here. To run the code snippets, you can use Google Colab. You can go to File, New Notebook on Drive. It will create a new notebook for you, and you can use this notebook to add a code and then test it. So no need to install anything in your local. You can directly use the Google Colab for your training purpose. And I'll upload this notebook in my GitHub, and I'm sharing the link below. So it will be easy for you to try out the code which we discussed in this tutorial. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this short tour of basic Python concepts with real life analogies. Make sure to practice these simple codes what we discussed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for the next pod where we will write some exciting code together. Thank you for watching. Keep coding and stay curious. Bye bye.